Welcome to Inside Academia, the weekly program where we take a look behind the ivory curtain seeking a frank discussion of American education. I'm your host, Andy Nash, and my guest today is Ashley Thorne, Director of Communications for the National Association of Scholars. She joined the National Association of Scholars back in 2008. She's a graduate of Politics, Philosophy, and Economics from King's College in 2007, and in 2010 she published a chapter called Ducking the Coffins, How I Became an Educon, in an anthology edited by Jonah Goldberg, Proud to be Right. Ashley Thorne, welcome to Inside Academia.
Thanks for having me, Andy.
All right, today's topic, the topic for this week will be the point of sustainability, the new trend, the new phenomenon that's been taking hold over the last few years across college campuses and universities everywhere across the country, as well as internationally. Sustainability is now seen in everything from offices to departments to curricula to programs. You can get degrees in sustainability. Just less than 10 years ago, this wasn't the case. Can you give us a background? What is sustainability insofar as it is a movement, a trend, a phenomenon on college campuses, and what has it become today?
Sustainability is basically the idea that the Earth is going to run out of resources if we don't radically change our behavior. Even the sustainability advocates have kind of a difficult time defining it, but they usually go to the definition given by the United Nations Brundtland Commission in 1987, that sustainability is meeting the needs of the current generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. And so this is a nice sounding term that we could probably all agree on, that we all want to take care of the earth and preserve it for future generations. But as the National Association of Scholars has seen, it has been twisted to ideological ends, and it's much more than just about the environment. Now, the movement really got started through a lot of the initiatives of the United Nations, and wasn't a big thing on campus until the 90s was when it really started. And the group that was instrumental in bringing it to higher education was called Second Nature. It's a group that's still around, and it's very strong today. It was founded by John Kerry and Teresa Hines in 1993, shortly after they had both been to the Rio Summit of the United Nations in 92. And its goal is to make sustainability the foundation of all learning and practice in higher education. So that's where we are today.
How is sustainability going to serve as a foundation for all learning? What is exactly does it encompass? Some of the writings that your president of the National Association of Scholars, Peter Wood, has mentioned that sustainability, in effect, is like a second wave of environmentalism, but clearly it's more than just environmentalism. It takes a real holistic approach to environmental issues, but also takes into account economic issues and even social justice issues. So can you elaborate on that? What exactly is entailed, and how is it a new way of learning?
Yes, sustainability, we've seen it normally illustrated in this Venn diagram, which has three overlapping circles. We have the environment as one circle, only one, and then the other are social and economic. Now, these really give us an idea of the broad reach of sustainability. It's not just about taking care of the earth. And so with economic and social systems, the idea is that these systems are unsustainable, and that Western society as it now stands is bad for the future of the planet. And so what is being taught in colleges and universities is that we need to change not only the way we relate to the natural environment, but also the way that we do economics and the way that we work as a society.
Well, many people will say, what's wrong with that? I mean, they seems to take a very holistic approach to all this stuff. It's not just isolated and about only being environmentalism, for example. They say it's relevant to everything we do. It's all about the consumption and the production that humans use, and therefore if we can all have a greater conscientiousness of it and how all these things interrelate and impact us and our future generations, that would only be all the better. So why not have this multifaceted, holistic sort of approach to all of these things, economics and environmentalism, going forward? So what's wrong with that? What's the criticism of the National Association of Scholars?
Right, and those things are related in many ways, and we don't deny that. But the problem here is that the answers are already assumed. We think we should raise these questions and study this, but when capitalism is automatically assumed to be detrimental to the future of the earth, and when social justice is used to justify things like racial preferences, these things are really specific answers that there could be more good answers to, and we think that that kind of debate is really lacking, and that should be occurring in higher education more.
So is there not a like a free and unfettered, like open academic inquiry going on with respect to these issues? Is that the basic premise here?
Right. The answers are already there. Professors are being asked to teach sustainability in all of their courses, no matter what they teach, no matter if it's math or music or Chinese language, and they're asked to teach it in a certain way so that students take on values that are conformed to these answers, that we already know the answer to the problem of scarcity. This is an issue economics, for example, deals with. And there's all kinds of responses to the problem of scarcity. You've got hoarding, stealing, and probably the best response is markets. But sustainability veers toward an idea that favors more egalitarian distribution of wealth, and it really closes the debate when it should be open.
So you're saying that the teachers who otherwise teach disciplines and subjects that have nothing to do with environmentalism or resources or economics, they're being asked to infuse their curricula with some loosely defined aspect of sustainability. Can you give me an example? Or how in the world does a music teacher, for example, teach sustainability in his or her class?
I don't know, honestly. I really don't know. And the way this is coming is very top-down. There's an organization, Second Nature, that I mentioned earlier, that has this climate commitment that it is asking college presidents to sign. It's the American College and University Presidents Climate Commitment. And so far, 677 colleges have signed this. And it's not asking the faculty members, who could be really giving some good input and giving scholarly inquiry into this topic, but it's going straight to the presidents. And so one of the things specified in this commitment is that the president must ensure that the college teaches sustainability across the curriculum. And so that's where that's coming from.
Now, the banner of sustainability goes beyond the curriculum. In other words, it's not just about what's being taught in particular classes or courses and programs. There are offices and centers for sustainability in any given college or university, the whole divisions and departments, and they go beyond the curriculum. Can you give us an example of how sustainability is ever present in any given university and what they've been doing in the name of sustainability outside of the classroom?
You've got these peer programs where students are recruited as eco reps, and they're asked to monitor their fellow students' energy and water use. And I talked to one girl at Stanford who said that their dorm buildings were in competition with one another, who could use the least water and the least energy. So if you take the longest shower, then everyone makes you feel horrible because your dorm then lost the competition. But there's all kinds of just trivial things on campus. You've got cafeteria tray bans, bottled water bans, in order to save energy, save plastic waste. And there's also pledges, graduation pledges that students can take. These are not mandatory, but there's some serious pressure on them to sign these, saying that when they graduate and look for a job, that they will look for one that honors sustainability. And so that's really taking the influence even beyond higher education into the real world.
Well, maybe it's not a bad thing to not waste water and take a rather quicker shower than you need to. But what are some? Are there any examples of compulsory activities that necessarily go beyond environmental consciousness in any of these programs at any given school?
Well, there's the example of the University of Delaware, which was how we first really became aware of the sustainability movement in higher ed. This was in 2007. It had a residence life program for its freshmen. It was mandatory, so all the students in the dorms had to go to one-on-one sessions and group sessions. They were asked very invasive questions about their views on different races and their sexuality, and they were taught that all white people are racist, that America is an oppressive society, and that they should be open to dating anyone no matter their sexuality or their gender. And so all of these ideas were brought into this program, ideas that have nothing to do with the environment. It was very coercive, and students were feeling very uncomfortable, but how could they speak up in dissent if they're being told that this is the university's official position on this topic?
And that was done under the banner of sustainability?
That was all done under the banner of sustainability. In fact, one of the curricular documents from the program said that sustainability is a viable conduit for teaching a certain value system, a certain kind of mindset that they wanted to instill in students. They wanted them to reject all of their traditional beliefs that they had been taught and take on this certain mindset. And so that's really where the problem is, that it's coercive into a particular value system rather than asking the questions and looking for the right answers based on their merits. It says, we have the answers already. You have to believe them now.
Well, it's nothing new. I mean, it's been going on for the last few decades where a certain faction within colleges and universities, higher education, they want to use the institution to transform society. They think it is their place to transform society, starting with students, into whatever future role of citizenry that they feel is important. In this case, the new trend seems to be an environmentally conscious one, or one that is conscious of scarcity, resource, and so on, in addition to all the typical things like sensitivity and consciousness of racial and ethnic sensitivity and all these other things. Your president, Peter Wood, even had an article in the Chronicle of Higher Education comparing diversity to sustainability insofar as it used to be the main trend on college campuses, and now it's more sustainability supplanting diversity. In any case, what I see common to both is the fact that both are these examples of these movements and these ideas that are trying to transform the future citizens of the country, of the world, into thinking a certain way. And while I guess civic consciousness is important, the question is free and unfettered academic inquiry being sacrificed in order to sort of transform people into a certain mold?
Now, I do believe that one of the purposes of college is to shape students' character, but this isn't really about character. This is about ideas and ideology. And so, no, that place is not in the university to be churning out activists. The idea is to be creating educated citizens, and they need to have that open inquiry, which we're not seeing right now.
Yeah, it's attitude formation, as we like to say. What is the next step, and what are you folks trying to do to spread the word or stem the tide, I guess?
Today we're actually releasing an official policy statement that distills a good portion of our research. We've been following this for 3 years, and we've devoted an issue of academic questions to sustainability. We've been to academic conferences and attended sustainability events on campus. We've really covered this and feel like we can now give some recommendations to universities that want to make sustainability study more constructive. And so one of our recommendations is that we treat sustainability as a matter of inquiry, not something where we already have the right answers. We restore the debate, And we respect the pedagogical freedom of faculty members to determine whether this is appropriate for their courses, and really bring this into the courses, the faculty's domain, and raise these issues, study sustainability, do it in a way that respects freedom and respects freedom of conscience of students and faculty in our colleges and universities. And that's the only way that we believe sustainability is really going to be sustainable.
Ashley, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with us today on Inside Academia.
Thank you.
All right, this has been Inside Academia with Andy Nash. Check us out again on the web at insideacademia.tv. Please join us again next week as every week as we take you for a look behind the ivory curtain.